The invention of the camera in the late 1800s forever changed the world of storytelling. This new form of entertainment affected nearly everything, including politics. So, how are politics affected by cinema? Clearly, art and culture do have the capacity to shape thoughts and ideas in society, just as the first political movie star, Charlie Chaplin. His childhood was filled with hardship after hardship, and once he started school, he realized authority could be misused. Chaplin started his film career in 1914 at Keystone Studios. He depicted the harsh realities of an urban industrial world whose leaders and institutions seemed unsympathetic to the plight of ordinary working people. As he gained experience and fame, he slowly influenced his audience to question the power of authority, which was radical in its own right. He agreed to tour the country with other screen idols and congressmen to sell war bonds to citizens. Here, he discovered the political uses of stardom. People were more interested in what he had to say over the congressmen or senators. Louis B. Mayer revisited this concept through the 1932 election. He injected showmanship and celebrity into the GOP convention and presidential campaign. It was not evident to party leaders that elections could be a form of entertainment. Understanding that voters, like moviegoers, wanted a good show, he taught Republicans how to produce and sell more effective drama for the mass audience. The forceful executive vice president of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer also contributed to politics in other ways. Originally a businessman, he started the Louis B. Mayer Company in 1913. Convinced he needs to create powerful allies to secure his business success, the ambitious studio head plunged into local politics. Then Secretary of Commerce Herbert Hoover came to Los Angeles to campaign for Coolidge in August 1924. His secretary had arranged for him to tour the MGM studio. Hoover and the mogul Mayer had hit it off. Both were poor boys turned to ambitious men who were never fully trusted by those at the center of power. To help Hoover secure the win, Mayer invited conservative movie stars. He understood that many people turned out to see their favorite stars, yet he hoped that after listening to the candidate's speech, they would be convinced to vote Republican. Mayer played a crucial role in aiding the party's long-term prospects. He taught Republicans how to use radio, film, and movie stars to sell candidates and ideas to the mass public. Mayer understood that politics extended beyond the electoral arena. Movies reached people of all political persuasions, and the ideas they contained could change the way in which people thought about themselves, their values, and their leaders. But what if movies could negatively impact public opinion? Well, as tensions with communist Russia came to an all-time high, so did the Red Scare. This gave birth to the conspiracy, paranoia, and Cold War film genres. As it transpired from the late 1940s, these films drew inspiration from the battles for dominance between America and the Soviet Union. A series of films emerged that linked realism and melodrama in an effort to consider the effects of war. These genres play upon collective anxieties. Film brought public opinion much closer in line with Europe as the Second World War drew to a close. It was almost a confirmation of America's need to preach New World Order and help any country in need. In 1952, Dwight D. Eisenhower was the first to air a presidential campaign ad on television. Roger Reeves helped animate and produce the commercial. It would be the first to premiere on television. Now politicians had another outlet to present themselves as the new future of the party to the public. However, this also eventually led to anti-campaign commercials aimed at certain politicians. In the 1970s, Richard Nixon's Watergate scandal had the public going crazy. People were now paranoid and willing to believe in pretty much any conspiracy. This translated well into Hollywood movies. As Peter Knight said, if society is willing to believe in a frightening cluster of infiltrating forces, then it makes the conspiracies real. The restless, fractured state of America gave birth to the rise of new media celebritydom that would make interviewers almost as famous as their guests in the following decades. Oprah endorsed many celebrities, including our 44th president, Barack Obama. This shows the kind of impact a celebrity can have on their audience. High-profile documentaries got their start with political policy. Documentary films like Oliver Stone's JFK and the Watergate investigation film, All the President's Men, give the audience a closer look at what really happened. Documentary has driven the conscience of Hollywood towards greater investigations into where stories and inconsistencies lie. Ronald Reagan, our 40th president, got his start on television, effectively catapulting him into the public eye. Because of his work on television, many people knew who he was and voted for him. He was the first political presence to be known for his filmography. Then there was Arnold Schwarzenegger, who arguably won governorship because of his fame in the film industry. Another president who learned to use film to their advantage is Bill Clinton. Clinton cultivated the celebrity candidate/presidential image. He had publicity photo shoots, appeared on talk shows, and he understood how to connect with his core voting constituency, effectively securing him the presidential win. But in the following years, tragedy struck. 9/11 would alter the perception of everything in the following decade. Movies influenced how the public views certain topics, so Hollywood was fearful of the public accepting any more action, terrorist, or disaster movies at this time. The only shock was how close these fictional tales were to reality. Here there was a rise in military movies, which would bring patriotism and nationalism back into the American people. Political movies of the 2000s reflected the change in differentials that existed between movies of the post-9/11 Bush era and those from the Cold War years. It shifted opinions toward politicians and public life more generally in the United States. In conclusion, America was becoming increasingly visual during the 20th century. Cinema is a major factor of how politics are viewed, presented, and how drastically different they are now from how they used to be. Cinematic works often reflect society's hopes, fears, and beliefs. They teach us how to think and act politically, as well as provide debate and bring forgotten historical moments back to public conscious. Film provided somewhat of a window for the public to see the ways in which the political institutions operate, effectively bringing social and cultural awareness to American politics. Thank you for watching. I learned all this stuff from these two books. American Politics in Hollywood, 2nd edition, by Ian Scott. He is a senior lecturer in American Studies at the University of Manchester and an author who studies and writes extensively on representations of film and politics, specializing in American politics. The book is very informational. The book attempts to discover whether this relationship between film and politics has become ever closer over the past 90 years or so, or whether it has merely been a marriage of convenience. The book accomplishes this through very in-depth plot explanations, sometimes spreading over multiple pages, and provides example after example when creating a point. However, the author obviously loved Frank Capra's work. I agree that Capra is an amazing director, but if I wanted to read a love letter to Capra, I would have read a biography. Overall, the book seems too reaching and reads like a research essay, but very educational and engaging if one knows the industry. Hollywood Left and Right: How Movie Stars Shaped American Politics by Stephen J. Ross. He is a history professor at the University of Southern California and is an award-winning film scholar. He spent 10 years researching this book, and it paid off. The book aims to tell the important story that has escaped public attention, the emergence of Hollywood as a vital center of political life, and the important role that movie stars played in shaping the course of American politics. Ross uses a small list of stars like Chaplin and Mayer to prove his point, but he does this so well. I think he succeeded in his goals, and personally, it was my favorite book out of the two. The book seems to flow really well, written like an intellectual conversation rather than just an intense list of repeated facts. I would recommend this book to anyone who wants to learn some engaging history.